Okay, I think we've got a critical mass and several organizations represented. So I will call the meeting to order, and if nobody has any objection, I will set it to record so that the members who are not here are going to be able to watch this later on our YouTube channel. So cause any concerns for anybody? There we are. Okay. I am Catherine Hess. I am this year's president for Soroptimist International of Davis. And we've been starting our Zoom meetings with introductions and an icebreaker question, just as a way of setting the mood. I will call on people because it's a little less chaotic that way. So Lisa, could you please introduce yourself and tell us whether you have a favorite plant?
Oh, that's a tough one. Hi, I'm Lisa Atta. I am president-elect for Soroptimist. I'll be starting next year as president of the club, and I am on the Community Grants Committee. So I am so thrilled to see all of you today. Thank you so much for taking the time, and I look forward to this presentation. And my favorite plant, I actually have a money tree on my table. It's very feng shui. And it brings me good fortune and prosperity. So my money tree.
Oh, George has one too.
Lori, how about you?
I'm Lori Hansen. I'm the treasurer of the club. I've been with the club about 3 years now since I retired from UC Davis. And I like so many different plants, but currently one that I've been appreciating a lot is rhododendrons, because we were recently in Washington where my daughter lives, and she took us to this amazing rhododendron garden where they had hundreds of varieties, and they're just so varied and colorful and blooming this time of year. So that's what I like currently.
Leslie, you willing to play with us?
Sure. I'm Leslie Hunter. I currently am the program and development director for Thriving Pink. I've been with Thriving Pink since Mary Lou founded it 6 years ago, and we've grown our programs, and we just in our outreach, and I have Joni Rubin with us today, who's our outreach chair, and I'm happy to be here. I am now loving orchids because my friend continually gives me orchids, and it's a challenge to get a rebloom, and I'm having success, so I've become an orchid lover. For
Awesome.
indoor plants.
Mary, introduce yourself, please, and tell us about your plant.
Hi, my name is Mary Chapman. I am the director of membership this year, and I'm also on the Community Grants Committee. And so thank you all for joining us. I'm so excited to meet you and hear your presentations as well. And my favorite plant is really, really tough, but I'm going to go with the coastal redwood. They're just majestic and gorgeous.
They are wonderful. Joni, would you please be willing to tell us about?
Of course. I'm Joni Rubin, and I am vice chair of the board at Thriving Pink and also chair of the outreach committee. And really pleased to be here and appreciative of our grant that we received. And I just flew back from Hawaii last night, so I'm going to say bird of paradise, trying to think of something I saw while I was there.
Nice.
Ooh, exotic. Erin, would you introduce us to yourself?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name's Erin Mcewen. I'm the youth program coordinator for Housing California, and my favorite plant right now is probably a sunflower because they're so prolific and just grow wherever you throw them. So I love sunflowers.
Thank you, Erin. George, would you be willing to introduce yourself and tell us about your favorite plant?
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. My name is George Zong, and I'm the resident program manager with Mutual Housing California. Thank you for the opportunity to be part of this great organization, and to be awarded was something very fascinating and appreciative for our youth program. So thank you for that. My favorite plant, I would have to say, would be my tomato plant right now because it's thriving. I hope that it produces a lot of tomato so that we can enjoy them throughout the season.
We're in the right place for that. Meredith, would you introduce yourself and tell us about your favorite plant?
Sure. I'm Meredith Sweet Silverstein. I'm the newsletter coordinator and the webmaster for SI Davis. And my favorite plant probably depends on the season. But right now I have these gorgeous cherry trees that blossomed not that long ago, and they're about due to start dropping fruit soon. And they're just across the street from me. No one like owns them. If we don't do anything, the cherries just go to waste. So I get like a good like sack of fresh cherries every summer. I'm really looking forward to it.
Wow. And Suzanne, would you tell us about yourself and your favorite plant, please?
Yeah. I'm Suzanne. I'm a nurse practitioner and the lead for the Communicare mobile medical team. And we are also very grateful for the generous grant and excited to be a part of this organization. And I guess I would say something like kelp for all the ecosystems it supports and all the all the life it supports, and including human life. Very grateful for kelp.
Thanks for giving us something to think about. Erica, would you please introduce yourself and tell us about your favorite plant?
Hello, thank you for having me. My name is Erica Chapman. I'm Communicare Mobile Medicine's behavioral health clinician. We are extremely grateful for the grant. And my favorite plant, like Erin, is also a sunflower. They are so bright and cheery, and they were my grandma's favorite flower, so they always remind me of her. And the seeds are delicious.
Yeah. Marnie, did you have time to think since you joined us? You're muted.
Oh, sorry.
You're muted again. Okay. We will miss Marnie. I'm sure she can hear us, and we'll find out about our favorite plant later on. And I've been a member of SI Davis for 20 years. I think my favorite plant is my house plant, which is the one I've been able to keep alive for a long time. Miranda is a tropical pitcher plant, and she catches flies, and she's not the most attractive, but she's a lot of fun. And now because my dog's barking, I'm going to turn it over to Lisa.
Hi, everyone. Did we finish introductions with Heather and Crystal? Did I miss? Oh, we did. Okay. All right.
Hi, I'm sorry, I was a little bit
Okay.
late. My name is Crystal O'Hara. I'm the client relationship manager for supply chain management at UC Davis. I am notorious for killing pretty much anything I touch, but I have had 2 bougainvillea plants outside that we put in right around early COVID, and they're still there and hanging on. So those make me smile because I haven't killed them yet.
And Heather's on, but she said she wouldn't be able to connect for introductions. So I think we're now ready to move on to our program.
Okay, okay, great. So we will begin with Thriving Pink. Thriving Pink, I have the mission of Thriving Pink is to help those in Yolo County impacted by breast cancer to thrive by providing a compassionate network of support and resources in partnership with the community. And Catherine, I believe we pass it to Leslie, and do we have a time limit? Do we have a time frame? How much time? Okay, all right, so I will pass the microphone to Leslie, and if you'd like your other and everyone else to participate, just carry on with the presentation.
Yeah, thank you, Lisa. Well, actually, I'm going to pass it on to Joni. And we weren't sure exactly what you wanted to hear from us, but to just talk about the grant that we submitted and how that's going to work with our work. Okay.
Yes.
Joni.
So thank you so much. So I had the pleasure of writing this grant. I did it with a young woman going through breast cancer now. Her name is Tatum. And so she couldn't be here today. I wish she could. But just for background, so our program actually is called, it's a project that we're doing. It's called Youth Education and Support. It's an outreach project. And I kind of wanted to share what led for us for feeling the need for this project. And there's three things that really contributed to this. The first is that many of us, as we go through our breast cancer diagnoses, have young children. And I can speak really deeply and profoundly about that experience. When I was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer, my daughter was going in between 5th and 6th grade. And probably the main thing was not my own treatment, my own health. It was what this meant for my daughter and the impact. And I am not alone in having that experience. It's really quite profound. And I went to my pediatrician, oncologist, but there really was nothing there for me, information that was really meaningful and supportive. The other thing, another thing that kind of led to us feeling this great need for this outreach project is we have observed a big uptick in young women being diagnosed with breast cancer. So Tatum, who helped me write this, is in her early 30s. And it's really, clear that if you catch breast cancer earlier, you are going to have a much better outcome. And also that there are things that we can do to support ourselves to hopefully prevent having breast cancer. And we really felt like we wanted to connect more with young women across the Yolo County and help them to both be aware of early detection, but also what they can do to support their health and well-being. And the third impetus is that we have been, many young women are coming to us. Some of them are children, their mothers received grants from us because we provide financial grants, and they've come and reached out to us saying, what can they do to give back? So I'm going to tell you that those are the kind of the factors that led us to want to develop this program. And so our goals are really to empower young women through outreach, education, understanding early detection, but also what they can do for healthy lifestyles, to inspire them to really value their own health and well-being, and also, maybe to get involved to help reduce environmental exposures, for example, that there's ways that you can be empowered and not just kind of be this is an inevitability. And we wanted to ignite volunteerism. So we saw this interest in these young girls and what can we do in a more meaningful and deeper way so that they can contribute, understand the volunteerism and what it means, and also help the breast cancer community. And then the last goal we had was to uplift mothers who are going through breast cancer, to help them to support their children and to have the resources to do that. So what I would say about Thriving Pink, we're very volunteer, like everybody primarily. We have one person who's not, but everybody is a volunteer. And we have this lovely infrastructure. For example, twice a month, we do workshops on Zoom. And so we reach a pretty large population. We're doing more outreach across Yolo. In fact, we're doing much more with Communicare. So I'm happy to see our Communicare friends there. And so we have the infrastructure to plug this program in, if that makes sense. So we're not looking for a brand new whole entire start, but we have a new office with a community room. And part of what we're going to do is research and procure resources, educational materials, and different resources that we can bring out when we do outreach to. We'd like to do more outreach to the schools across Yolo, but also do outreach in the community and have more books and resources to provide support to help with both healthy lifestyle kinds of factors, but also dealing with breast cancer and breast cancer awareness. And then we are going to host a volunteer day for mother and daughter kind of craft making, with an opportunity to connect with people in the breast cancer community so people can really see. They would be making items that we would put in our comfort bags. We give comfort bags out to newly diagnosed individuals. So there would be an opportunity to participate in making something, and then also be there while we are having events where we give out these comfort bags. So it's a really nice opportunity to connect with the breast cancer community. And we're going to do an educational workshop that really would be targeted for mothers and to help address some of the issues on resiliency and communication strategies. And then the last item was purchasing a laptop that we could have in our resource room. What we're finding as we're doing more and more outreach is not everybody actually has access to computers. And so a way for people to have access to connecting with resources that could be helpful to them. So we see this as a very distinct project that will really allow us particularly to reach young girls and also mothers of young children that are going through breast cancer. We have a very robust, I think, social media and communications approach. So I think we'd be able to really share what we're doing with you all very effectively. So I don't know, I wasn't sure what all you wanted. We haven't done this before. I don't know if that's on target.
Excellent. Excellent. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Joni, especially for sharing your personal journey. As I've discussed in the Community Grants Committee, so many of us have been affected by cancer. And I went to an all-girls high school, and I had a classmate whose mother died of cancer, and it was really tough on her, and she could have used a program like the one that you're describing with Thriving Pink. So, and I've also lost some relatives to breast cancer. My mom is a survivor. So, you know, these programs for women and daughters, so crucial. And, you know, on the committee, we saw all the pillars of Soroptimist being brought up in that program. So the education, the diversity, the equality, everything. So thank you so much for that. Was there anything else we wanted to add from Thriving Pink? We have a few more minutes. Okay. All right. So we will move on to Communicare Mobile Medicine. And I have here provide medical and behavioral health care in Yolo residents with unstable housing. And who would like to speak about the voucher program that this grant set? Susan?
Yeah, I can get us started. And then I think Erica will also chime in, and also we have Nick Taylor, who is in charge of our operations. And I thought maybe he could just introduce himself and share with us his favorite plant before I talk about the grant application.
Hi, everyone. Sorry that I joined the meeting a little late. A favorite plant? Well, I'm a sucker for any succulent. So I would say that's my favorite plant, but yes, very happy to be here. As she mentioned, I'm the operational manager for the mobile medicine team with Communicare.
That's awesome, Nick. Thank you. Okay, so Communicare has a contract with the County of Yolo Health and Human Services, and this contract is also supported by Dignity Health and Sutter Health, and by Communicare in kind. And we provide medical care to people in Yolo County who have unstable housing, and behavioral health services to people who have unstable housing. So we are out in the field 3 days a week. We go to Woodland, Davis, and West Sacramento. And then we also hit rural areas and provide care at migrant centers. So we cover a lot of ground. We see a lot of people who are in need, and our patient population is very diverse. One thing that we see often and is very painful for us to see is women young women or women of all ages who are kind of tolerating abusive relationships for shelter. It's very hard to see. And so we were really wanting a way to help somebody who's like in a window of change or wanting to just have a break, to get a different set of four walls, to be able to give them another option besides sleeping on the street. And so that's what we were asking for, and we are so grateful for the support from the Soroptimist Club. And I think Erica may have a patient story. In terms of our social media, we will not be identifying patient stories, obviously, but we will provide just kind of more general descriptions of patients who receive the motel rooms. Erica?
Thanks, Suzanne. Yeah, as she mentioned, for women who are in domestic violence situations, they are often relying on their partner for housing and financial support. So if they decide to escape that violent situation, they often end up losing housing, money, and everything that they own. So we often will find women who are unhoused for that reason, or staying with their partner in order to have some stability in their life. A client story that I would like to share is about a woman who is unhoused and is living outside with her partner. Living outside as a woman is very dangerous. There's a lot of safety concerns. And so she was relying on her partner to keep her safe. I apologize. The lights in this office are on a motion sensor timer, and the timer is for like 5 minutes. So every 5 minutes I have to get up and wave my arm at the timer. So I apologize for that disruption. So this woman was relying on her partner to keep her safe, but he was also abusing her physically. And so she was staying with this partner in order to be safe on the street, even though he was also harming her. She didn't have other options, and so she was really stuck in this situation. I think that if we had been able to provide her with some sort of temporary shelter, such as a motel room, it would have really helped her to escape that situation and provide her with some safety. So I'm really looking forward to being able to provide that for our female clients in the future.
And I would just like to add that, I know that there's like safe houses and there's the shelter, but the shelter is often not a choice for women who have been in violent relationships because of other past relationships that might also have people there at the shelter. So they don't want to encounter a past perpetrator, and taking a step to go into like a shelter for women who are fleeing from abuse is like it can feel like a really big step. And so this is a way to provide an intermediate step, get a little space so you can think straight.
Yeah, I'd also like to add that the safe, there is a huge need for things like the safe house, and unfortunately they are often full. So I've had clients who have tried to escape their situation and get into a safe house and have not been able to because they're at capacity, unfortunately.
Hey, did we have anything more from Nick or? Oh, sorry. My internet went out for a moment there. Did we have anything from Nick? Okay.
No, nothing more for me.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Erica, for sharing that story and personal example. And also, as Soroptimist, we actually had a young lady reach out to us, and she was in a situation like that where she was living with her boyfriend and his parents. And the household was a toxic household where it was just too much abuse, negativity. And she was applying for a job, and she just needed what we'd like to describe as empowerment. She needed that housing for empowerment. And that was one of the pillars that really stood out in your application, was empowering the women to just get that housing, that step towards so they could go for that job and that education and continue from there. So thank you so much for presenting that. And last but not least, we have Mutual Housing of California.
Yeah, I'll be presenting, and then George can add some too if he would like.
Great. Okay.
Good?
Good.
Cool. So my name's Erin. Right now, I'm the youth coordinator for Mutual Housing. And so with these funds and with your support, we're going to start a most valuable youth program, most valuable person youth program at Spring Lake, which is a 100 unit complex in Woodland for agricultural workers. It's for low income, affordable homes for people. And so we're going to start a program for youth ages 13 to 17 at Spring Lake. We're hoping for 5 to 10 young ladies. Our program is going to focus on mental health awareness and career readiness, right? So after the pandemic, the youth, we have MVP youth programs at multiple sites in South Sacramento, North Sacramento, and now in Woodland. And we've just noticed the youth struggle to connect after this pandemic. It's hard. Those social skills have been like very difficult due to isolation, right? And also like mental health, loneliness, and depression. So we're going to start a writing resilience curriculum based trauma-informed care are some of the topics that we're going to discuss. It's going to be a course that leads up to a spoken word workshop series that like will be a celebration for the youth at the end of the project. And so our project's name is called READY, so Race, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Youth Project. So some of the topics include racial injustice, adverse childhood experiences, communication, mental health, and relationships. So where the youth can feel safe, heal, and release any grief, trauma, or negative emotions they've been harboring throughout the years of this pandemic. And then the second part of the program will be career exploration. We're going to go on some field trips, some college tours, and then hear from some major like women presenters in the area on some of the young women's interests. So we're going to have a great time doing this together. I'm really excited. We are starting our grand opening of the MVP youth program this month. So we're going to start getting that interest and getting signups for this program. And we're really excited to show you guys the poems that they create and all the pictures from all the college tours and things that we're going to do. George, do you want to add anything else?
Yeah, thank you, Erin. I just want to add on that the program, the most valuable person program is a grassroots program that was created back in 2019, right before the pandemic. And while we was trying to find placement across all of our communities, we was kind of halted in our ability to deliver. And given with some less restriction into engaging with programs for this year, it was an opportunity for us to get into our Spring Lake community where we have invested a lot of time understanding there's a great need for youth engagement in programs. And our philosophy is to provide youth in that community with strength-based learning and opportunities for empowerment and exposure in the sense of career exposure, college exposure, because we know how important it is for higher education and the success for any young women and girls to be able to achieve greatness, as most of our staff, along with our resident leaders, are really founded upon the powerful women in our organization to really care on some of our initiatives, our mission, and our hope is to bestow some knowledge in them and hope that their time can also inspire other youth to engage and be a lot more than where they're at right now.
Wonderful. Yes, absolutely. We were talking about this the other day about how as Soroptimist, we were isolated. We needed social connectivity. So we started our book club. And one of the characters in the book also was enlightened when she saw a career opportunity. She went for the college education to pursue it. And even that's a fictional character, but we have women in our community who are receiving scholarships from our scholarship program, and they too are getting that exposure. So we love that program, and please keep us posted on events and days where we can post that to our Soroptimists and keep involved. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. Catherine, do I pass it on to you? Or Can I introduce Kim really quick? Kim is on our committee, our community grants committee. And she, vital member. She really has been outspoken about getting funding for our community grants committee because, Soroptimist, we all have a budget. And so she's been spoken for, really being a tremendous asset to our committee. So Kim, would you like to give an introduction? And our icebreaker topic was our favorite plant.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for sharing about your programs. We're really excited to hear about each of your programs and the clients that you see. And it's neat to see how they all dovetail together, but also serve different populations here in Yolo County. And we're really happy that you're all here. I am on the grants committee, and we are super excited to fund you this year, and we hope to continue with that in future years. My favorite plant, I have a brown thumb, so I just admire plants from afar. And I admire everyone else's plants.
Thanks, Lisa, for introducing everybody. I think we've got time for some questions. If any of our members or any of the organizations have questions for the other organizations. Speak, Lisa.
Okay. Something about computers. Forthright, do you need donations of computers that's maybe gently used computers, or like a laptop or desktop or something like that?
So we are just opening our brand new office. And so we're trying, and so the answer would be possibly after we've opened and we see how that community space is used, but I wouldn't say yes right now. We'd like a new computer to help people one-on-one with our volunteers, helping people to search and to access. We're creating a resource directory so that you can go online and look at breast cancer resources, and we'll have a whole section for mothers, for example, and what are the resources. So we want a place where we can capture that info and then help people to access it. Over time, that might be incredible. I wouldn't want to say yes before I know for sure. I don't know, Leslie, what you think.
Well, no, I agree. We're uncertain of the best plan until we get in the office, but we are dedicated to having the resource library and having ways that people can come in and teens can come in and access information. And one point that Joni actually didn't mention is that she touched on it, but we've had so many requests from local teen groups throughout Yolo County, and like the high school health clubs and students whose parents are going through cancer. And so we really are so appreciative of your support, because we know they want more information and we want to be able to provide it to them. So thank you again for your grant.
Can I ask a quick question? I think this was for the CCHC, Erica and Suzanne. So briefly, I think you touched on hotel rooms or places where they could go. Is that still being funded? I'm not sure if you talked about that and I missed it.
I mean, are you thinking about for the pandemic?
Yes, and more. Sorry.
I missed that last part. Yes, and what?
From here out for women, that they're needing to leave a situation. If the shelters are full, we don't want them living on the street. Do we have like an intermediate place or vouchers for hotels for women, or?
No, I mean, that's what this application was for, because that doesn't exist that we're aware of.
Okay.
There are vouchers, there's housing vouchers, but there's no place to spend them because they don't cover the cost of the housing. So there's many vouchers that go unused throughout Yolo County every year because there's just no housing to use them with. The county, who works with people with unstable housing, has a limited reservoir for motel stays. And we wanted to basically expand that capacity and be able to use it with our patients. And partially it's to build trust and to, create a bridge out.
Okay, thank you.
Do we
Question
have,
group here.
go, George.
As I mentioned earlier, in this group here, there's so many powerful women and so many great organizations. And as an exploration part of our commitment to meet, I was curious to know if there's any one here or any organization here that is open to the idea to actually come out to our community in our program to educate, to inform, to probably just share with our youth members about what we do, what you do, how to achieve things, maybe some life skills, some mentorship, because I think one thing to represent youth development is that sometimes it's good for us to share what might be a possibility, but to hear from someone that's in the field or has been in that movement for a longer stretch of time or been invested into it is just so much more powerful in building that relationship with youth and their development.
That is the easiest throw that anybody will ever give us. You're describing our Dream It Be It program. Right now, we are affiliated with, we have a relationship with King High, which is the continuation school. And we go to King High and do resume workshops and interview prep workshops and resiliency workshops. And we have an entire curriculum for that. Marty, you're part of the DIBI group this year. Do you have anything you want to add or any suggestions for how we might go about making this connection?
I don't, mainly because the whole time that's just been going on has been during pandemic, so it's opening up there. But I definitely can see the transition of people speaking at both, or maybe like you were saying, mentor type thing. I have time that I could spend with a girl in high school. People might have time where they might have a skill. So I'm not sure.
There might very well be something in this. Who should we work with? Is it you, George?
Yeah, I'll say if there's a point of contact that we can maybe follow up on after this initial meeting, or at a later time, then it'll be me, Erin, who will help to really coordinate and possibly plan for that into possibly this year, or hopefully the collaboration is on a longer stretch than that. And
we've got a board meeting on Monday night. I'll put it on the board agenda, and I will reach out to our Dream It Be It coordinators, and we will get back to you and find out whether there's a relationship to be had. There's also another Soroptimist organization in Woodland. And so this might be an opportunity for partnership between two Soroptimist clubs or another group involved. But what you're describing is some of what we do. And it would be a great opportunity to explore further.
Thank you.
Can we, I don't have to receive either Erin or George's email because I'm thinking of a couple people just in my head that might want to present to your program as well. So I don't know if Mary, you want to make those available to us, or?
Can you put it in the chat?
Oh, thank you, Erin.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you for making those connections for us.
I have a question kind of through the course of this grant. How do we stay connected with you, and what, how do we share what's going on and engage with you?
Do we want to do through me, the committee chair, or Meredith handles our website? And email, call us. Meredith is going to put this information on our community grants page on our Soroptimist website. And yes, reach out to me. I can put my email address in the chat as well. And I definitely want to stay connected with everyone. So I think that's the best way, especially as I transition to president of the club. I want to make sure these programs continue through even next year.
Yeah, I also had another question, and I'm not sure if this is like the right place to ask this question, since it's like a meet and greet initially with all of us here. But who's the person that we can check in with in regards to maybe some requirements for grants or expectations? Because I know we received the award, and I think just more clarification so that both organization in a sense can meet our end of the bargain, if anything, on fulfilling success.
That would likely be Lisa as well.
Yes. So my committee, me, Mary, Kim, Philip, the 5 of us on the committee. So just contact me, and I'm very much happy to meet with you. We can have more Zoom calls. However, my schedule is flexible. So anytime you want to discuss community grants or your program, and I'm certainly interested in your opening. So grand opening.
Thank you, Lisa.
Any more questions? And if not, we will follow up with a couple other small agenda items and then adjourn. Announcements. I think the big one I want to remind everybody of is tomorrow is the big day of giving. I know that everybody in this room is aware that tomorrow is the big day of giving. All the organizations have put out the word and are requesting donations, as is SI Davis. There was something for the Davis members that came out in an email today from Susan Vaziri with some great things that she asked that we do to encourage our donations. It's one of our biggest fundraisers, and this is how we do what we do. So any SI Davis members, you are encouraged to get the word out to your friends and family. Any other announcements? Lisa, where's book club going?
Oh, yeah, book club. So Meredith and I are going to send out a survey. We've got some great books on like you said, empowering women, strong women. And we're going to narrow that down to no more than, I think, 5 or 7 books, because we have quite a list from Women's History Month. Yes. And so we'll probably meet sometime in the summer. It'll be good.
Any other announcements? Our next business meeting is May 17th. We are meeting in person. I have a reservation for outside at Woodstocks. It'll be a little bit noisy, but it will still be really nice to be in person. Any other questions, comments, announcements? Mary, are you waving your hand or just cuddling the dog?
No, he was growling at the UPS truck, and I was trying to get him to stop.
And Meredith, I
Sorry.
assume Natalie the same thing. So we're done. This was a really interesting meeting. Thank you to the Community Grants Committee. And Meredith, I will upload the video and ask you to put it on the YouTube channel so that anybody who's not here can watch it. And everybody go out and enjoy the weather today. It's gorgeous.
Thank you again for your support.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.